International Show in the air with me, Nivedna Prabhu. We are discussing the ODI format now, moving on from the T20Is. काफी time हो चुका है discussing ODI, so it's exciting to also be talking about the 50 over format. ये होने जा रहा है at the Kennington Oval in London, 5:30 p.m. IST, and this is all about the first ODI. And on that note, want to call on Pratik Tiwari back in the studios. Pratik, welcome back. Great to have you. We've, of course, moving on from the T20 format over to the 50 over format. What can we expect now?
See, things happen so quickly in this world, Nivedna. It's just been a week that England actually clinched that fifth test match, and suddenly we have already had one series. Now we head into another three ODIs. But like I said in the last time when we were having a chat, that this is one of those formats which has taken generally a back seat. Because in the modern day we are not seeing that much ODI cricket, so it's good to have some sort of action of 50 overs cricket. And I think
Yeah.
both these sides, what will be also interesting to see is that because now we have seen in the T20Is India making their intentions very clear that they are going to, their approach is going to be that aggressive one, going onto the accelerator all the time. England has already been a preacher of that approach, so it's actually a great outing, cracker of a series, because of course when two these kind of with these kind of batting dynamites, when they run into each other, you always expect some firecrackers. So I think three ODIs, looking forward to them, and I think a great chance for some of the players who are not that much in form to get their mojo back as well, because 50 overs gives you ample amount of time to get back in form as well. So I think crucial series from that perspective as well.
Also, we're discussing so much about the T20 World Cup 2022, but not to forget, in 2023, it's going to be time for the 50 over World Cup as well. So, Pratik has pointed out, itna sara kuch T20 ho chuka hai. So, it will be good to check out what the ODI format is also looking like before we forget it. Because at one time, of course, we're all so used to the ODI format, but T20 has probably become the flavor of the season, if I may say so. But talking about these two teams clashing, कुछ interesting stats भी देख लेते हैं. So let's start with head-to-head between both these teams, and then we'll move on to some approaching milestones as well. So let's start off with the head-to-head. 103 matches played between these teams. England have 143, India have 155, tied on 2 occasions and no result on 3 occasions. All right, so this is the head-to-head. If you could take a look at the approaching milestone, because प्रत्येक से अगर हम पूछे भी head-to-head के बारे में बोलेंगे कि numbers, are of course a part of it, but it will keep changing every now and then. Okay, approaching milestones में अगर देखा जाए, Rohit Sharma, Joss Butler, Shikhar Dhawan, and do we have any more approaching milestones? In terms of course, performances, we have Joe Root, Ravindra Jadeja, and Shami as well. Kafi doable hai, I think, except for one or two of them. But one thing very interesting here is what we can take away is that Mohammad Shami requires 2 scalps to get the 150 wickets in the 50 over format. और जो दो पहले का जो हमने देखा in terms of appearances, I think one person that I'm definitely looking forward to in terms of his milestone and just being in action today is Shikhar Dhawan. I think it's been quite some time that we've seen him play for India. तो उनके बारे में थोड़े बात कर लेते हैं प्रत्यय. मेरे opinion में I'm looking forward to watching him. आपके opinion में ODI format में he's one player to definitely look out for, right? His stats also speak for themselves.
No doubt about that, Nivedna, because now he is not in the scheme of things if you're talking about the T20 World Cup or even for that matter the Test team, because there's overbrimming competition in those particular units of the Indian team. But ODIs, whenever you're talking about the 50 over format, he's a champion player. I mean, the numbers, of course, speaking for themselves. It's a very healthy average. Good amount of runs that he has got under his belt, plenty of experience. 150 ODIs is a lot of cricket that he has played for India, and he has been one of the mainstays. I mean, you have seen him. If you actually look back at whatever ODI cricket, yes, in the recent past, India has not played that much. But if you look in the last half a decade or so, you will always find Shikhar Dhawan in the team and also scoring those crucial runs. He has also led the team against Sri Lanka last year when they went with a second string squad with India, one of the major teams being in England for the WTC final. So he has been around, plenty of runs under his belt. And I think that because this is now the only format that he plays, so he has got a role clear ahead in front of him. With the 2023 World Cup also slated to happen in India, he would want that, that because age is of course not on his side. So perhaps you would expect that could be one of the tournaments that he would be eyeing and would be perhaps thinking that, okay, this could be my swan song. So I think that from that perspective as well, whatever games he is going to get in the format, will be crucial for him as well, because I clearly see him being the part of the scheme of things as far as India's ODI World Cup team is concerned for the next year. And because it's in India, so it will be even more better for Dhawan, because he gets the advantage of playing at home conditions. So I think that yes, he will also want to kind of get back into the reckoning and kind of keep that place secure in the team.
All right, so this was my takeaway about Shikhar Dhawan in the 50 over format and Pratyay analyzing the same. But who are you all watching out for? One player, give me that in the comment section. We'll also go to player battles. But before that, I do see Vignesh's question. I'll be taking that because I also have to dissect a quote from Sunil Gavaskar that's coming. So it's kind of similar to what, an analysis you have sent in, Vignesh. So I'll come to that in a bit. But let's take a quick look at what the player battles in this particular match are looking like. I'm pretty sure we'll have Butler on over there. But who's the bowler? Okay, we have Shami against him. Butler has scored 34 runs with 3 times that Shami has sent him back to the pavilion. I believe we might have Moeen Ali versus Virat Kohli also. Yet another player battle, 89 runs, and on 3 occasions, Moeen Ali has sent Kohli back to the pavilion. ठीक है, तो कोहली के बारे में मैं तो एक बात कहने वाली हूँ. अगर कमेंट्स में ये आने वाला है कि I see a lot of King Virat Kohli with heart emojis, very happy. We're not going to be discussing about his form. We're not going to be discussing about when his 71st century is coming in. But there were reports that he might be missing out because of a groin injury, but there's no update as yet. So the other question would be, just in case that does happen, who are we seeing at the number 3 position, ideally, Pratyay?
I think perhaps Suryakumar Yadav, because the kind of form that he has been in, and maybe even a case for Rishabh Pant, because we have seen that he has been promoted, has been actually arranged as an opener. So maybe I think Suryakumar Yadav, I mean, of course, you have to play with the kind of form that Suryakumar Yadav has been in. And he is one player I definitely feel has to be in your white ball squads, no matter which conditions you are playing, no matter what the opposition. He is one player that you have to accommodate. So I think that if Kohli indeed misses out, then Suryakumar Yadav or Pant could be the right choice. But given the form that Surya has shown in the last game, I personally would want to see him bat at the number 3 position.
Alright, तो अगर आप सब भी if a situation arises like that, तो हम टॉस का और प्लेइंग 11 का भी थोड़ा सा इंतजार करेंगे. लेकिन if it were to happen that Kohli unfortunately might miss out, आपके हिसाब से number 3 के लिए कौन apt रहेगा? Tell me that in the comments. Now we've spoken so much about the Indian scheme of things. Let's talk a little bit about the England side as well. One player to definitely watch out for in the ODIs would be Joe Root. If you could take a look at his numbers, because they're also brilliant in the 152 matches that he has played. He's got 6,109 runs, and his highest being 133 not out. All right, so this is काफी interesting है. Adding to that, England haven't lost an ODI at the Oval in the last 7 matches, while India last played an ODI in Feb. Meanwhile, Swan reckons the pitch may not be very quick, while it wears a greenish look to help in seam movement. So that might also mean that will the spinners will they get assistance in the second innings? Is that what we can expect, Pratyay?
Yes, absolutely. I think this pitch has had a history that it supports. I mean, it's pretty much in the balance as far as pacers and spinners are concerned. But I think that because of the heat and all of that England is right now in the midst of, you will perhaps, of course, that expect the spinners to come in, and you will want them to kind of have a show, because I think this is one of those tracks which has something in it for both pacers and spinners. But also the fact that under lights it becomes easy. So I think that when the warmth will be there in the evening time, and when the match starts, perhaps you will see a little bit more assistance for spinners, followed by the pacers. So I think that yes, you can expect a bit of assistance for the spinners, and that will actually be a little bit of a good news for India as well, because they have great players of spin. And I think all the lineup that if you actually put up from Sky to Pant to even that matter Shreyas Iyer, I think all of them are players who enjoy playing against spin. So I think that if it indeed comes out to be that way, Indian batters would not be worried or complaining too much.
All right, talking about the fact that this match boils down to the fact that what is the toss decision and playing 11 kya hoga. The toss aa chuka hai. India have won the toss and opted to bowl first. All right, and yahan pe in the predicted playing 11, if we were looking at the bowling of Team India, there were names like Prasidh Krishna, Yuzvendra Chahal, also a combination of Bumrah. Is that what, and Shami, is that what our bowling lineup would be looking like, or would you have a different combination for Team India? We'll still wait for the playing 11 to come in, but your thoughts?
Well, I think definitely you have to play Bumrah and Shami, no doubt about that, because now Bhuvneshwar is not a part of this particular squad. So you have to, and because this is the first match of the series in three-match ODI series, or any for that matter in any of the format, whenever you are playing three games, it becomes very important for you to kind of seal the first one, because once you do that, you get in a good space, because now you know that the opposition has to bounce back at least twice if they have to win the series. So the first match, actually, there's plenty riding on that game. Not to say that it cannot happen that after you lose the first game, you cannot win the series. But of course, first game becomes very important. So I don't see that. Okay, perhaps you would expect maybe Arshdeep and the likes, even for that matter, Prasidh Krishna or Siraj, to come into the scheme of things later on. But to start with, you will have to play with your best possible 11. And I definitely see spearheading. I mean, the attack should be Bumrah and Shami. Perhaps you will want, because Prasidh Krishna brings in a slightly different skill set as compared to Siraj, who can slightly seam it around a little bit. But if it is a track which is going to be slightly slow, as we discussed, on that kind of a track, I would be more interested to see Prasidh Krishna, because he is someone who is tall. Secondly, he is someone who can bend his back and just bang it in short and kind of test the England batters with that kind of pace that he has. So maybe because of that, Prasidh Krishna could be one of the choices. But of course, if you're talking about who the leader of the pack are going to be, no doubt about that, it has to be Bumrah and Shami.
All right, Bumrah and Shami, in terms of this is our opinion, but the news also coming is that Virat Kohli is missing out. Shreyas Iyer will be batting at number 3 as of now, but we'll come to the entire playing 11 of both the teams in a bit. But before that, considering the fact that we're also speaking about Kohli missing out, there's a different take to this. Right now, this is because of injury concerns, but I'll take Vignesh's question now. So his question was, what do you think about the constant rest or breaks the Indian players are getting? Don't you think this is getting a little over the line? Why can't they play international cricket when they play 14 IPL games? Okay, cut to the fact that I want my producer to also show us what Gavaskar had to say about pretty much the same thing. So then I'll come to Pratyay to ask him about his opinion. If you could take a look at Gavaskar's statement, because he was also pretty much of the same opinion, that what rest are you talking about? Especially in the context of the fact that, okay, I'll come to this. See, I do not agree with players resting during India matches, not at all. You're playing for India, you don't take rest during IPL, but rest while playing for India, I don't agree with it. You will have to play for India. Don't talk about rest. There are only 20 overs in an innings in T20. That does not take any toll on your body. In test matches, the mind and body take a toll. But in T20 cricket, there's not much of a problem in playing. He had a lot more to say. Let's take a look at what the additional comments to this was. If Indian cricket is to become more professional, a line needs to be drawn. I honestly feel that BCCI needs to look into this concept of rest. All the grade A cricketers have received very good contracts. They receive payment for every match. Tell me if there's any company whose CEO or MDs get so much time off. I feel that if Indian cricket has become very professional, a line needs to be drawn. If you want to be rested, you need to reduce your guarantees. Then you take rest because you don't want to play. But how can anyone say that I don't want to play for the Indian team, which is why I do not agree with the concept. All right, so that's pretty much what Vignesh has asked us. And cut to the fact that Gavaskar has said that a line needs to be drawn. Now, if this is about money, and I think that's why he's pointed out that grade A cricketers को भी काफी ज्यादा पैसा मिलता है. Of course, IPL के जो 2 महीने में मिलता है, annually उतना नहीं होता. But ultimately, because let's rewind a little bit to the fact that even the South African Test captain Dean Elgov did make that statement that he would like his players to prioritize the Test series over playing for the IPL at one point. But then he changed that statement later on. So just looking at everything, and even from the perspective of when you already have senior players like Virat and Rohit not talking with the bat, and then being rested, what is your opinion in general? And to even look at Gavaskar's statement, is that fair enough, and is it over the line?
No, it is absolutely fair, I think, because the reason for that is simple, that if you have not played, if you are constantly playing a lot of cricket, because in the recent past, you will see that India has actually been tinkering a lot. If you talk about, I mean, you would not have, perhaps you cannot actually recall any moment when you would have seen 7, 8 captains being changed, or players missing out so constantly due to injuries. And Virat Kohli specifically asking for this rest against the West Indies series, if we are to believe the reports as of now. Of course, we are expecting the squad to be out by the end of this week, perhaps. But in all likelihood, he is going to miss out as well. So I think that he hasn't played that much cricket off late. I think because this is one series that he has played. He was not even a part of this the first T20I, so couple of T20Is and a test match. And now if he ends up missing, now he is missing tonight, that has been confirmed as well. So a couple of ODIs. So it's not that much back-to-back cricket that he has played. And Rohit Sharma as well, I think, because due to injuries or some or the other reason, he has been, he trained at NCA, then he got back, but had to sit out of the fifth test because of his COVID-19. And then now, if you're talking about resting these kind of players. So I think that the only chain of thought that you can perhaps think upon is that either you are trying to test few more players, because it is clear that if you're going to go with your first choice players, then it becomes difficult for you to test your bench. Because if there is a KL Rahul thrown into this particular squad, then probably you will, the T20 as that we just saw, then probably you would not be looking at Pant the opener or Ishan Kishan the opener, because then you know that you have to play Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul as the opener. So if it is from that perspective, it is from that point of view, then it becomes slightly logical. But apart from that, players asking for rest, it does. I mean, of course, there's a school of thought that believes that players are prioritizing T20I cricket or T20 cricket, franchise cricket, that is the leagues. And I think that, of course, when you're talking about international cricket, you want players to, as much as we all love IPL, as much as we love these franchise-based league crickets, I think that you want international cricket to have the front seat, and these things can, of course, take the back seat. So I won't say that I will disagree with what Vignesh has asked, because this much of rest you do not expect players to be taking. But also the fact is that you do not see other countries doing it, for the reason that perhaps they do not have that much depth. But when it comes to India, I mean, you see that the way India has been resting players and still has managed to win series back to back, it just goes on to tell you what kind of depth India boasts of, because you don't miss these players. It's like that Virat Kohli is resting, but you still perhaps don't feel that, okay, you are missing someone big. India still manages to win. So perhaps because of that, we are not discussing it as much. But I think it is one of the things that the board and the team management must look into.
Sorry. So I think the bigger debate here being that I think why are you prioritizing IPL over playing for the country? I think it's boiling down to that now. That's a little tricky, to look at it that way. But like Gavaskar has said, right, a T20 game, according to him, should not be as tiring as a test series. So we'll keep the debate open for all of you. If you have anything else to add, tell me that in the comments and I'll take it. But let's move on quickly to social tracker to find out कि वहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है, and then we'll come to the playing 11. We could quickly look at what people are tweeting about. Virat Kohli defended Rohit Sharma in press in 2021. 2022, Rohit Sharma defended Virat Kohli in the press. Okay. Most times batted together for India. ODI 176 Sachin Ganguly, 114 Sachin Sehwag, 113 Rohit Dhawan. They're all set to join second list in the upcoming ODI series. All right. Rohit Sharma has an outstanding batting record in ODIs on England's soil. All right. These are his numbers. Repeat this today like you did in 2018 in England on same day. 137 of 114. Trent Bridge, 12th July 2018. All right. Okay, so these are the interesting stats, numbers, सब कुछ जो हो रहा है. वो जो पहला ट्वीट था कि एक दौर था जब कोहली was defending Rohit and then now Rohit is defending Kohli. देखो, कैप्टन का काम है कि टीम को साथ में लेके जाना, ठीक है? वही लीडर का असली काम वही होता है. अभी if you are looking for other kind of stories to be happening in the side, right, Pratyay? Those kind of controversies will keep happening. But ultimately, it all boils down to teamwork, like what Rohit said as well. But the other stats that we saw about Rohit and the combination, like I also said last time, I'm looking forward to is Dhawan and Rohit coming back in full swing. Before we get to the playing 11, Ronald Davis has said with all the IPL and T20Is, will the batters have the patience to get settled and play long innings that ODIs demand? Well, iska jawab to aaj hum game mein pata karayenge ki what exactly that is about. But I mean, they are international players. No matter what format you put them in, they have to adapt and adopt accordingly. क्वेश्चन ये है कि आप सबको पेशेंस है अभी ओडीआई देखने के लिए आफ्टर बीइंग सो यूज्ड टू वाचिंग T20 का फॉर्मेट, वो मुझे बताइए in the comments. And on that note, let's take a look at what the playing 11 for both the teams are looking like. And Jason Roy, Johnny Bairstow, Joe Root, Ben Stokes, Joss Butler, Liam Livingstone, Moeen Ali, Craig Overton, David Willey, Byron Cars and Reece Topley is what England's playing 11 is looking like. Dusri taraf, India have gone for Rohit Sharma, Shikhar Dhawan, Shreyas Iyer, who's coming in the place of Virat Kohli at number 3, Surya Kumar Yadav, Rishabh Pant, Hardik Pandya, Ravindra Jadeja, Mohammad Shami, Jasprit Bumrah, Yuzvendra Chahal, and Prasidh Krishna. All right. So in terms of the predicted 11 that we have is pretty much the same for Team India. The only change being that, of course, Virat Kohli is missing out. But summarizing both these teams going into the first ODI, Pratay, give me your quick viewpoint more than who's going to win. One player that we definitely have to watch out for from Team England.
Well, I think it's a balanced unit, and of course, because we saw that in the T20Is as well, it was a good unit that they had. But now that you see with Stokes returning, Root returning, Bairstow returning, even for that matter, it becomes even more formidable. And I think in white ball cricket, whenever you're talking about England, it's one heck of a team. In the last 5-7 years, their rise has been absolutely phenomenal. So you are expecting a good challenge for India. And I think I mean, it's hard to pick one player, because if you start looking at the entire top 5-6 players, all of them have played so much cricket and great.
I'm not letting you be diplomatic. You have to take one name. Tell me who you're going for.
I think, given the kind of form that we have seen Johnny Bairstow, because the way he has been playing, I mean, the kind of approach that he has shown in Test cricket, this
Yeah.
is the format this is the exact format, or the T20I is the format, which is the manner in which he was playing in Test cricket. Now he has the license even all the more, because he's actually playing that format. So if he is going to go bonkers, then you know that even 500 or even 400 is not a difficult thing to do. Not to forget that England only recently did that against the Netherlands. I mean, scoring half a thousand runs, that's absolutely ridiculous. I think if there's any team who can actually breach that mark at this point in time, I think it has to be absolutely England, and not just Bairstow. I mean, look at that entire batting lineup from Roy, Stokes, Bairstow, Root. There's so much firepower, and it's not just that it's at the top order. They bat deep as well, because even someone like a Bryden Cars, or even someone like a David Willey, or the
Yeah.
Currans and the likes of them, even they have plenty of ability. They are not mugs with the bat. So it's a team which really bats deep. And I think that it's not going to be an easy series for India, specifically also given the fact that now they are also missing Virat Kohli. I mean, of course, he is not the man in form, but lest we forget that he is one of the finest players you will get in ODI format. And now India is also chasing. We know how
Correct.
much Virat Kohli loves chasing. So I think that
Correct.
India is going to slightly miss him as well. So I think the challenge is pretty high for India, and they will definitely not want to take this lightly at all.
All right, and on that note, before we sign off, I'll just give a quick word on what both the captains have to say. Rohit Sharma said we're going to bowl first. There's some grass cover and it's overcast as well. We want to have a score in front of us. Shami, Bumrah, those guys can swing the ball. It's important to take wickets up front and put breaks on the scoring. That's just, I've trimmed it down in terms of what he had to say. But of course, they're all looking forward to winning this contest. But Dusri Taraf, of course, England captain is not going to let that go. He has said that he would have done the same thing in terms of the bowling, and he's looking forward to the ODI series. And he's also said that Root, Best, or Stokes are few of the best players in the world. They are a lot of selfless guys in the team. Okay, so now both the captains are looking to clinch and start the first ODI on a high note. And we cricket fans are also, super excited to see what the result of this is going to be. On that note, I want to thank everybody for joining me. I also see Ronald Davis saying that we millennials have grown up watching 50 over matches, so no problem. ठीक है? तो अगर आपका जवाब वही है, देखते हैं कि रिजल्ट इस फर्स्ट ओडीआई का क्या होगा. Right here on Cricket Tracker. Thank you everybody for joining.